What's up, guys? It's Tony Dempsey here with S.T.D Turkey Calls. I purchased a hand making jig from Thad Bright from FeatherRidge call presses. I got his auto stretch. This thing's pretty sweet. Got the dial over here, the auto stretch. Let's show you how fast you can bust some calls out with this thing and be pretty close to being accurate every single time, just like his comp press. Once you get everything set, I've been making a few here and there. I still gotta cut these out. First time making them about 2 weeks ago. Pretty stoked about it. Don't have to buy mouse calls anymore. It's kind of on the expensive side, but I sell turkey calls, so I'll eventually make my money back with this. First, I want to get good at it. Stacking your latex right here. I got 5 of them already pre-made, or 4 of them. Just show you how I've been doing it for the last couple of weeks. It's really easy. And I'm really just making this video to show you guys how easy it is. I know there's a lot that goes in it. It's just an Allen wrench I sharpened at work. Stack your latex. Poke it so it don't fall apart. Now, on this jig, there's a dial right here. Now, it goes all the way up to, I don't know exactly. I haven't taken it all the way out, but I know you can go up to like 300 thou, at least three and a quarter, somewhere around there, 100, somewhere around there. I found that the more you stretch it, the higher pitch it is. I mean, I think anybody would know that makes them. So I'm not trying to take anybody to school. I'm still learning myself. So I've been making them about, on the dial, between, let's see, 4.5 full revolutions to 4 3/4 revolutions. I'll show you. These ones right here are going to be 275 thou. So I'm just going to take this dial, rotate it once. That's 50. It's 100, 150, 200, 50. And then I'm just going to go to the 25 mark right here. So that gives me my side tension right there. The cool thing about this is that he's got this locking mechanism. I'll show you. So you can squeeze that bad boy in and it won't move. Your side tension is set. So you can make all 5 of these calls pretty much identical, as long as you take your time. Throw your little plate in there, hold your latex up. Place that in there, just like so. Line it up with the edge of the jig. Clamp one side down, clamp the other. Now watch, since that's in there, you don't need that no more, because clamps are holding the latex. So all I have to do is, since I got that preset, bam, it's done. Then what I like to do, what I found is really easy, is I just put a little bit of pressure on this going out, and I lock it back down. That way I don't lose no side tension, just in case I bump this when I go to clamp on the metal frame, or aluminum frame I should say. So that thing won't move. I won't lose my side stretch. So you take frame, bend it on the edge of the table like so. And what I like to do is I like to squeeze it down just like about like that. Peel your tape off. It exposes the adhesive that's on the back of it. Squeeze it down just a little bit more. Take the tab side down. Hold the jig up like this. So the clamps are up. Take the tab side down. Place it right over top like so. And what I like to also do is take my thumb, hold it like this. Very little pressure. Just enough so it won't move. Take a pair of pliers. You're going to crimp each side. So I'm going to go in there. Squeeze that down. That side locks down. I'm going to come over here and do this side. Same thing. Bam, your side tension is set. I could actually open this up. But what I tried this morning when I was making a couple of these calls, I actually pulled back for my back tension. It gives me a slight little smile. What I can do is go in there, place it right underneath that tab, and I crimp that down. Now to me, my back tension is set. So now what I do is I loosen that up, squeeze it in, lock it down, so I'm going to be ready for the next call. Pop it open. So the tab's not bent over, but my back tension is set. I got really good stretch on that. I think so. I made a couple earlier. I mean, this is a 3 reed. I'll lube it up and give it a little yelp for you. So I just bend that over a little bit more. Take my pliers. And I just finished crimping that down. So that call is ready to be the latex cut and snipped however you want it. Whatever kind of cut you want to put in it. This is a 2 reed. Well, this is a call I made earlier doing that same method. I was doing it where I was popping it off, pulling the back tension, and then crimping it down. And it works too, whatever way you want to do it. But I just found that while it's in there and I got the side stretch on, latex is pretty much stretched out pretty good. I just pull back on that latex a little bit and add my back tension, crimp it down, and it don't go nowhere. Gives you enough time and you can pop them off, and then you can go back and bend the tabs later. I'll show you on these next 4 calls. I'm going to run this one real fast. No professional caller. I can't do a lot of things. I mainly use a mouth call when I'm out hunting. So I ain't using my pot calls that I make. So I'm not doing a bunch of movement. You guys know, you turkey hunters yourself. This is just to keep them interested. I do a little excited cut and some clucks, and I can half-ass purr, yelp. But this one right here sounds good. It's a 3 reed call. To me, I'd sell those all day to myself. Sounds good. So I know it works because I tried it. So since this is in place, I'm gonna build these last 4 calls real fast. My latex is already stacked, ready to go. What else I like to do, since if I'm gonna build, usually I've been building them like 10 at a time. I've been getting the frames ready by peeling off all the paper. Get up there. That way, kind of like a little assembly line, it goes a lot faster. So after I do that, I got it in there. Get my latex how I want it. Like I said, I line the latex up with the edge of the jig itself. My side tension's already set. Bam, it's done. I relock it down. That way it don't move. Get me a frame over here. Tab side down. Slide that bad boy over top of it, like so. Slightly touch it so I can crimp it. Bam, bam. Put a little back tension on it. It holds it in place. Since I got the call in or the jig in my hand, I lock it back down. Like I said, I'll go back and bend those tabs over after I get done doing all my stretching. It just goes faster. Especially if you guys are wanting to sell these things to somebody. Lock it down. Slide it out. Make sure it's all the way out. It's spring assisted, so got the call in my hand, or jig in my hand. Tab side down. Put a little pressure. Not much. Crimp it. Crimp it. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a little wrinkle in it. So that's where that back tension comes into play. I pull it right out. Gives me right enough. Crimp it down. Holds it in place. Why I got this thing in my hand. Dad is a machinist by trade. The quality that he builds these things are phenomenal. I've been a machinist for 23 years myself. I don't do machining like this. I run a Acme Gridley screw machine. They're dinosaurs, man. They were built in the early 1900s, and they still produce parts. And what I actually do for a living is if you drive a tractor, John Deere, Case International, Caterpillar, the company that I work for, actually, we machine all the hose fittings for hydraulics. So if you were thinking that they were built overseas, you're wrong. They're built right here in Ohio for our customers that are global. We're a global company. Been with the Alco for 16 years. Crimp it down. Crimp it down. Pull back a little bit. Give me my back tension. Thing really grip. Like I said, I've only been using this thing for about 2 weeks. I started off just making straight coyote calls for my buddy Big John. He took him out his first weekend, which was last weekend, and killed 4 coyotes on 3 different sets. They had a double. Him and his buddy had a double on one set, actually where I deer hunt and turkey hunt at. So amen to him for helping me out with my population of my turkeys and my deer. And so he loves my calls. He was buying MFKs, and he said mine are way easier to blow, which is dumbfounded. I mean, Tory Cook, that dude's a phenomenal coyote caller. You can't beat his calls. I got him myself. So, I mean, that's how much I believe in Tory Cook's product. These are badass coyote calls. Kind of where I got the idea from. Back tension. Put a little pressure on it. Open it up. Now, I wrap this up and just set this bad boy right inside there like so, and I set it off to the side somewhere. Not gonna be in my way. Now I can go back in here and finish bending these tabs right here. So I'm just gonna Bend these up a little bit, bend them over, hold them in place. I mean, the quality of that jig, man, you can't beat it for the price. I mean, a couple $100 more and you can get the comp press, which I told Dad. So let me get my name out there with making these and selling them. And I'll probably be ordering his comp press probably in the next year or so. I think this is just going to suit me fine for what I need for right now. I mean, if I get up into the hundreds of calls, I'm probably going to need that comp press. But for what I'm doing right now, I think it's going to work perfect. I got a group of guys out in Jefferson, Ohio, Deadly Obsession. You can check out their YouTube, Facebook, Instagram pages. They use my calls. They kill birds like you would not believe. Great group of guys. They're actually coming out to film me this year. So hopefully I'll be a celebrity. Joking. So now my back tension is set. I can snip that. Before I go any further, because I'm going to get ready to tape these, I got Dad Bright's Economy taper, tape cutter. This thing works great. You got to kind of figure out how much pressure you got to put down on it before it actually gets all the tape, or you're going to be sitting there trimming it, or not trimming it up, but kind of going over the indentation where it didn't cut with a pair of scissors. I had to do that to a couple calls. He tried to talk me out of buying this and getting his production cutter. But I kind of made him, or let him know what kind of call company I am. I've been doing turkey calls since 2015. I've been entering in NWTF Nashville call makers competition last couple years. I didn't do it this year. Nobody knows who I am, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I initially never dreamed of this being a business, so to speak. I basically started building pot calls for myself, my dad, a couple of my friends. And over the last couple of years, I built a website and YouTube channel. I don't go on Facebook, so I mean, all my calls are sold by word of mouth. The guys up in Jefferson, they sell quite a bit of calls for me. They do a lot of video hunts of themselves. There's like a group of 5 of them. So they've helped me out quite a bit. And but this Economy tape cutter works pretty darn good. I guess he's got replacement blades, replacement cutter's block. So I mean, for right around 400-ish for both of these, I mean, you can't beat it. You just got to look at it this way: 4 calls or 40 calls at $10 a piece pays for itself. That's not a lot. I mean, even if it takes 2 years to sell 40 calls, I mean, I think it's well worth the money. Like I said, I'll use this for a couple years, and then I'll probably buy one of his comp calls and his production tape cutters and just keep this as a backup. I mean, you can't go wrong. I can actually probably keep that thing in my truck if I wanted to, and if a call ain't working, I can bring some latex and a frame and some tape in the tape cutter and cut one right there before I even go out to the field and put a couple cuts in the reeds or whatever it may be. Who knows? I mean, I'm just going to keep it for a backup, or if somebody wants to learn and before they think about buying one, I can just let them borrow it. I mean, I'm that type of person when it comes to my close friends. So I'm not trying to bore you guys. Like I said, I'm no professional. I just started doing this myself. I'm self-taught on everything I do with turkey calls. One-piece strikers, I learned the hard way, messing them up, throwing out wood, making the same mistakes over a couple times, getting frustrated. I'm using the wrong scissors. It's another thing. Latex will dull your scissors up. It's what I've been reading, what I've seen on YouTube. So you want to get another pair of scissors to cut around your frame. so you don't dull up. You're good. Good scissors. Try to get all that latex off of there. Look at that stretch, man. I mean, for a hand jig, where's that thing at? I don't think you can get any better than that. And I mean, it's smooth. Nice little up, smile in that thing. I mean, you can't ask for a better hand jig. I have, I think the Call Perfect little hand jig. That thing sucks. I don't like it. It don't tighten up the side. You only get one setting on the reeds, side tension. Your back tension is kind of screwy. You got to beat it with a hammer. I mean, I guess it works. I've only made maybe 2 calls out of it. I was pretty upset because when I bought that, not this right here, Thad's, talking about that Call Perfect one. It's just, you have high hopes for when you purchase something, and it's not what it seems to be. This FeatherRidge Auto Stretch, I think it's freaking sweet for the price. This thing right here would actually be really good for, to keep at a camp. If you got several guys hunting, you guys got a lease or whatever, there's 3 or 4 guys, you guys could go pitch in on one of these bad boys and keep it at camp and make your own calls, and you ain't got to worry about buying them. I'm not going to tell you how much this stuff costs because it's relatively cheap, but you do your research like I did. There's answers on the internet. The one thing I've learned about call makers, they don't like to give out exact dimensions on anything. It's kind of like you got to be in their brotherhood to get some really good help. I've been helped by Val with my pot calls on my sound quality. He didn't, like I said, he didn't give me no dimensions. He just told me to change a couple things on it. He said the calls that I sent him didn't sound bad. He said that they would kill turkeys. I told him what I was wanting to achieve with my sound, and he told me to change 2 dimensions. I did, and I achieved my sound that I wanted. So my calls are actually even that much more better. Not bragging. You will never hear me brag. You will never hear me say my call is better than the next guy. This is not how I roll. What I want you to do is add my call to your arsenal to help you put a tag on a bird. Call that thing in. Get him to gobble. Bring him in on a string. I mean, yeah. My calls are not the best. They're good. They work for me. They'll work for you. So I'm going to do this crazy cut because I kind of dig it. That's another thing. You want to get up underneath that reed. This is just a 2-reed call. I like 2 reeds. They're easier to blow, I think. And I think I achieve a little bit more rasp, the rasp that I like. You want to do your cuts before you put your tape on so you're not wasting tape. So I tried this cut earlier, and this thing was pretty wicked. Where you at? There it is. Thing's cool as hell. Make 3 of these, or 4 or 5 of these. I'll throw a piece of tape on and give her a yelp for you. Don't be afraid to try new cuts either. I've been playing around with them. Some suck. Bad. Some are like, wow, didn't know that would work. Never seen that before. So yeah, I'm digging this little zigzag line type thing, man. It's pretty cool. It's easy to do. It's the sound that I want. So after you get that done, get your tape that you want. I got a bunch of it, different colors, whatever. I'm just going to use gray on this. It's pretty easy. I'm just going to show you how I do it, and then I'll do this one, and then I'll say my goodbyes to you guys. So I like to fold my tape in half, line it up on the center. To me, that's the most important part. The rest of this will get cut off by the tape cutter. Sometimes they're not square, whatever. I mean, nobody's perfect. Peel this bad boy back. I'll put Dad's information down in the description also. Don't forget to give my videos a thumbs up, subscribe. Like I said, I'm not trying to get famous doing this stuff. So I actually like to put the bottom reed down first, or actually facing up, and I'll show you the reason why. So I like to place it up and down. That way if I don't get it lined up perfectly, I can still pull it off. This tape is really sticky, so you just kind of want to take your time to get to one side, and then I just press it down. I kind of let it drop, press it down like so, and this is the reason why I do it the way I do it. So I take it, I put my finger in there like this, just like that, so I can hold it down, and I just pull straight forward, and that it gets that tape pretty lined up every single time. I have not had to rip off a piece of tape yet because I messed up. Once I get it down, I take my middle finger and I kind of push it down up on that tab area right up here. Then I just slowly pat it down, get the air bubbles out. Just like so. Right there, my friends, it's a finished call. So now I'm going to show you this tape cutter. It's got two little prongs in there. You line the call up. I've also noticed if you put the tab side up, cuts better. It's what I've noticed. I don't know if it's just this one or whatever. It doesn't really make a difference as long as it is even when you put it in there. You just put the frame on those two little stops. I come down, then I actually turn it sideways so I can get a better grip on this bad boy. Like I said, you have to figure out how much pressure to put on this thing. Dad puts a piece of paper in his box along with this thing, telling you that this thing, you don't need to overkill it. The more you do it, it's going to dull up the blade. Not disagreeing with him. He knows his product better than I do. Like I said, I've only had this thing for 2 weeks. But I think the different tapes, I don't know if they're different thicknesses. I think some of them need more pressure, less pressure. I don't know, but I just kind of, I listen, and there's a noise that it makes. It's not like a popping noise. It's just like a sizzling noise. Just like so. This is what I'm talking about. You're going to have to, sometimes it'll come up. There it goes. Just like so. Now you got your mouth call. A little bit more pressure probably would have cut clean, but it came off. No big deal. You can still saw this call. There ain't no big deal about it. I'm going to put it in my mouth and run it for you. Just to show you the sound. This is the sound I like. I know it's going to play good. This call right here would probably be a good fall call too. I think it does really good keys. I know that 3 reed does it. That's what I'm talking about. So I'll finish putting these tapes on, cut them up. Remember, go get you a FeatherRidge auto stretch hand jig from Thad Bright. Like I said, I'll put all of his information down in the description. This thing is cool as heck. I'm stoked about it, using my own mouth calls this year. Before I was having a guy make them. To me, I like it. It'll help me kill the turkey. Peace out, guys. Good luck this year in the 2021 season.